Hey everybody, it's Rob here. In just a few hours from now, Diablo 4 Season 9 is getting a new live patch with only buffs to basically every class throughout the game. There's also no nerfs to any of the characters, so all the strong OP builds like the Hydra Sorcerer, like the Thorn Spirit one, are gonna remain unchanged. But there's some pretty cool new potential builds here that get quite a lot of more power that I want to show you here today. And yeah, just basically walk you through this. So the first build that I'm probably the most hyped about that gets even stronger is always the meta build right now on Druid, and this is the Puddle Pulverized Druid. You can see here in the patch notes, not only Barb is getting a ton of buffs, but also the Druid here is getting a 25% increased damage here to the base of your Pulverize. And this, if you're looking at the leaderboard right now, is already the strongest Druid build here, doing Pit 114. I already made my Pulverize Bear here, and we have like no problem like already like one-shotting Lilith, one-shotting Belial, and all these crazy buffs here. And this is with the old Pulverize and the new Rotten Lightbringer weapon. And this actually is a ton of fun, guys. Finally, the Druid is eating good, and this is definitely the most fun build that that I'm going to be checking out here, I think, with this. And you can see it's already hitting for billions and billions of damage here. Like, if we just go there, 70 billion, and we're basically just smashing into these puddles and doing a ton of damage while we do so. And again, this can one-shot T4 Belial. This can like do a Pit 100 in like 3-4 minutes. It's super chill, and you just say hello and you shapeshift here. They're 100 billion hit right there. And if you stack more of these puddles, like if you move around a bit, stack more of these puddles, you can significantly even increase the damage output here of those. And yeah, just have a ton of fun with this Druid. It's gonna like one-shot everything basically, and you're permanently overpowering here with the new Rotten Lightbringer. I managed to get a triple crit here as well. Pretty good 2 GA item. So that's the build I'm looking the most forward to. I'm going to link this below. This is pretty strong. I recently updated this one, and it's a ton of fun to play, and it's going to be tremendously strong. By the way, guys, the patch is usually coming around 7 p.m. Europe time, so that means in a few hours from now. But if you're from the US, it means in the noon US and in the early evening of Europe. And we'll be streaming this here on Twitch as well. We're going to be testing out all this new stuff. I'm going to be testing the new Druid first. So that's the build I'm looking most forward to. And then there's also another build here. This one will revolve around the Staff of Crone. They're also like a ultra juicy in this great stuff. So if you want to be playing like a claw druid or a base druid, we also might check that, where your claw is now a storm skill and cast storm strike. This has definitely some potential to rise up into as high as A tier if we're looking at the tier list here. And then going over from the druid to the class that actually gets the most buffs this patch, that's the barb. I mean, the barb also needs it. It's by far the worst class if we're looking at the leaderboards right now. 106, a whole 20 tiers behind here on the barb. And we're getting a ton of buffs here. The first buff here is to Frenzy. Now, Frenzy is obviously a basic build. It's not really been shining in the past, but now with this new battle trends and with some other additions, such as the Hoof of the Mountain God here, there is some potential here, and I'm definitely looking forward to try the Frenzy, but I'm not sure if it's going to be with battle trends or if it's going to be with a, you know, a normal amulet. I already made a barb here slowly. We just been leveling it. Don't really like care the most attention to his to the name here that we named our barb in, because it's like a pretty weak right now. We have to wait for another second here. So if we go on our barb, he's unfortunately called ZDPS, but this is basically like all generator base. We're currently rocking Lunging Strike, which actually turned out as an A tier build, but there is certainly a lot more potential here now with the Frenzy buffs coming. I was clearly hoping to see even potentially more basic buffs in the future and just more buffs to Barbarian in general. But Frenzy can be a pretty fun playstyle here. We're basically right now here on Lunging Strike, rocking. This is like the current gear, so I've not masterworked everything yet. We just made this character basically. I think it's 3 hours old, but we will certainly do some Barbnation stuff here the next days, leveling the glyph and checking out the new Frenzy buff. I'm also going to link that below if you want to check that out. Then we're also getting buffs to all the core skills. Probably the biggest winner, and you could probably make a build around this, around A tier as well, is the good old Hoda Barb. It's getting a 55% damage buff, 65% damage buff here to its base damage. However, the core skills are quite far behind, and I don't really see this is making it into the meta. Same for Ren, same for Upheaval getting a cool buff. But this is going to be very strong in leveling. And then even our favorite build, the Whirlwind Barb, which can probably do like a pit 90 right now. It goes up by another 1 or 2 pit tiers. And then maybe at some point we're going to get some real rework to the Thorns. This is not enough, of course. This is the... many people don't even know this exists. Like, I don't think we've ever played it, only on the PTR for like a week when it was bugged. But the Barb has a key Thorns passive now. I really hope this is going to get reworked in the future. Right now, it's only getting a 20% damage buff, which is not really enough to make it rewarding. But for the Thorns enjoyers out there, Spiritborn is the way right now. And if you want to try it on Barb, it's getting a bit easier. Then we already covered the Druid. Necromancer, you can play some minions here. It's getting buffed. And then on Rogue, they're actually buffing the Flurry Rogue here quite significantly. So that's the item here with the new Death Mask of Flurry, basically. And this gets a bit more multipliers here. However, it's only going up 30%. And then this aspect here is going up another 10. This is also not going to be enough, you know, to make like a big impact here in the tier list. Overall, right now, the strongest build is looking to be the Crushing Hand Spiritborn. So if you're clicking on Thorns here, it has the Quill Volley icon, but there's also a Rake, and then also here the Crushing Hand version that's topping the leaderboards right now, just using Crushing Hands and basically rocking with that with extra barrier, and then also the Unrelenting aspect here with a ton of new hits. So on Spiritborn, there's not really like that crazy much to look forward to. I feel like the Balazan's build is just flying so high, flying so crazy. But it's good to see them buffing up Razor Wings and some other small stuff. However, what we really need long-term here on the Spiritborn is bug fixes. I've covered this many times before. There's several multi-dipping, double-dipping multipliers that just make other builds not viable on the Spiritborn. So we'll see. But for now, that's how it looks like. Then we have the Sorcerer. And Sorcerer is actually getting a super cool buff to Meteor. Obviously, guys, Hydra Sorcerer will remain the strongest build. It's super juiced, super strong. But it's cool to see we're getting buffs here to Frozen Orb. And we're getting buffs to Meteor. And I have a video here from Para Gaming. I'm going to link this below. Just to kind of give you an idea here. He's farming pit 85, which is already pretty good. And you can see here, he's just raining down the fire. This is the meteors that killed the dinosaurs. He's just raining down the fire on those enemies. And if you are, you know, getting like a bit bored of Hydra and you don't really mind if your build's slightly weaker, but, you know, more fun, I think Meteor is going to be a very welcome like playstyle. You can basically play very similar with perma-teleport and still move around teleporting like crazy. But then, you know, instead of having these hungry, super aggressive fire dragons killing everything, you're going to be summoning some meteors here from the sky that melted the packs just the same, basically. It's a bit slower, but it's still pretty damn good and a super cool playstyle if you want to try that. So I'm going to link that below. That's from Para Gaming. And that's basically been it. There's also a couple of cool quality of life stuff that's coming. Arcana, like all the stuff here that is going to get auto-picked. So this is specifically good for like the newer players. There's a ton of quality of life issues here with the season stuff. And then the pit keys. This season we've been kind of getting like many pit keys from just doing the season journey. You see me here, I have 3,000 pit keys and it only costs 3. And you'll be able to basically fully maintain all your pit keys if you're running like, you know, anything over pit 70. It's going to be very juicy. And then also we have some potential here for the XP with the Forgotten Wisdom. That's also going to be releasing here in a few hours. And then, guys, if you want to farm Obduxite, they are fixing the mechanic here where you could be able to keep or not pick up the Blood Relic basically and keep doing this like progress. Pretty decent Obduxite farm. I made a video about this previously. You can still do this for a few hours. This was like a very nice way for solo players to farm Obduxite. However, they don't like this kind of mechanics and they are like obviously we are like, you know, re-farming the quest. We are like resetting the first base of quest. We've had this something like this happen almost every season. It's basically like a use of the game mechanic and they don't like this, so this is going to get changed. And there's already another mechanic that people have been using that has not been changed, and that basically just revolves around you opening a strong room key. Like you just open a strong room key like this, but then instead of going into the strong room, you just go to the bosses, like go to Zir, and you start slaying enemies like around Zir. and then a strong room is going to spawn in those layer dungeons. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. That is also what people have been using now, or what people probably going to be using after this. But it's like not really more efficient anyways. It's just an alternative method for solo. You can also just keep playing the escalation sigils, because you're getting about 4,000 Obduxite from killing Astaroth, and you have a very high chance to get the strong rooms in the normal nightmare dungeons here. So basically there's a strong room usually in every second nightmare dungeon, and there's always 3 in a row, so you get 1.5 on average. Plus the Astaroth kill, that's already like giving you about 10,000 Obduxite just for doing one of those escalation keys if you do a full clear. And that's basically almost as efficient, so there's no need to like, do all this like, crazy shenanigans. But this, I feel like this like quest line here, this was just very nice for solo players. It didn't require any keys, it didn't require any party, and you could just do the solo. But that's getting nerfed, that's fine, like we still get a ton of Obduxite. And then there's also the buff happening to the Legion event, because Obduxite is usually not the bottleneck. What's the bottleneck for many players, including myself, is the Forgotten Soul count. And they are completely changing the rewards on those Legion events. So these are these, like, I don't know if there is one right now. Here, these are the timed events here, just Legion event in the open world. And they are significantly juicing the rewards that we're going to get here in just a few hours. So completion rewards now include more salvage materials and Forgotten Souls in the Torment difficulties. They're also buffing some of the Nightmare dungeons, material reserves and stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff here. Overall, big W patch. We'll test it here live. We'll be live on YouTube. We'll be live on Twitch. I'll link those planners and also the full patch notes below. Hope you're going to enjoy, guys. I'll probably have an updated video if there's anything like crazy or if there's anything meta breaking going on. But the old meta builds are pretty much going to stay the new meta, and just some of the weaker builds are getting a significant buff forward. And then also the pulverized Druid, that one is going to be dominating, and that's the one we're going to test first here come the patch. Hope you enjoyed, my friends, and I'll see you live. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.